Thank you, Mr. Agee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it would be remiss of me if I didn't make a small contribution on this Hospitality Training Institute Amendment Bill. Because truth be told, Mr. Speaker, when I was the Minister of Tourism, first of all, I fully endorse the amendment, Mr. Minister of Tourism, and thank you for bringing this bill to this Honourable House. But when I was the Minister of Tourism and I had that portfolio, and the Hospitality Training Institute was always under the Ministry of Tourism from the days of Sir Lester Bird, then the Honourable Sir Dr. Rodney Williams, our Governor General, and Sir Malwin Joseph. Every single Minister of Tourism from the inception. And as the Honourable Member for St. John's Rural North, the Minister of Tourism, just very well stated, the Minister of Tourism, that is quintessential, Mr. Speaker, that the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute should always be under the ambit and the management of the Ministry of Tourism. But, my dear friend, my esteemed comrade and brother, the Honourable Member for All Saints West, in his youthful exuberance as Minister of Education, came to the Cabinet, convinced the Cabinet and the Honourable Prime Minister that it's a learning institution and that his technicians in the Ministry of Education advocated that the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute should be under the ambit and management of the Ministry of Education and be removed from the Ministry of Tourism. I argued, Mr. Speaker, that all of the funding, all of the partnerships with the European Union was done with the Ministry of Tourism, and if you're going to have training of your students and your workforce, it is quintessential, pivotal, critical for training to be under the Ministry of Tourism, so that the technicians in the Ministry of Tourism can oversee it. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the Honourable Member for St. John's Rural North is aware that there are plans, detailed construction working plans that were done by the European Union. They're in your ministry, sir. They were done nearly 15, maybe 20 years ago. And we can access funding, grant funding from the European Union. I carried it to Cabinet. I did a whole circulation note. Nobody listened to me. But we would also have to get a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank. And Mr. Speaker, there are lands up there that was earmarked where the plans are drawn to implement and the construction of a beautiful 12 to 18 room hotel. So that the students who are being trained at the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute, Mr. Speaker, can have the practical training of having hotel rooms, making the beds, serving the guests in room service. And why we can't do that? We use the CIP funds to do so many other projects, Mr. Speaker. And I argued that as Minister of Tourism. So I'm very, very happy today that the current Minister of Tourism, the Honourable Member for St. John's Rural North, is able to come back to this Honourable House 4 years later and show the rationale and the importance that we should definitely never have put the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute under the Ministry of Education. And I'm glad that the Honourable Prime Minister, in his wisdom and his present cabinet, have agreed to do it. It should have never been removed, Mr. Speaker. Never. And I'm appealing to you, Mr. Minister of Tourism, Honourable Minister of Tourism, please get the funding. Appeal to your cabinet colleagues. Maybe now we do not have it because of COVID and the economy and so forth, but as soon as the economy rebounds in 2022, make sure that you impress upon the Cabinet and the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Minister of Finance to make sure that that project is implemented. It is quintessential to your training of the workforce to have an excellent Ministry of Tourism and excellent industry. So that Hospitality Institute is rightfully placed under the auspices, the ambit, the management, and the control. And I must commend, I do not know if Madam Shirley Nibbs is still the chairman of the board. but she has done an excellent job. And is she still the chairperson? Good. And she has given yeoman service, Mr. Speaker, to the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute. We have an excellent board there. We have some great public servants in this country. And we must commend them from time to time. It's not just politicians and parliamentarians and ministers must get praise. We have some outstanding public servants in this country. And when you look at, the salary that we pay board members, a measly $1,000 or, $800, and the amount of hours that they have to put in these board meetings and so forth, we really have to commend them. So with those few words, Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this amendment, and I thank the Honourable Member for St. John's Wood North for bringing it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.